this show are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production of Glory 93.9 FM.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street.
Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Wardrobe provided by Bahari Bahamas. Visit shopbahari.com. And good morning, everyone, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys being here. So, some interesting times in which we live, and normally I would save this for a Friday, for an open line Friday, but this is just too good to pass up. There have been some interesting developments as it relates to politics in this country. And Clint Watson had on a show last night that was one of those OMG shows as it relates to the what's going on with these third parties and calls for coalition and all this kind of stuff. And as the clips started coming to me, people, because I was so tired last night, y'all, when I got home, I just, I had my church has every Wednesday night a Bible study, and I was able to hold on to stay up for the Bible study. But I don't think I heard everybody say good night because I was so tired. I think I fell asleep at the very end. And then I was awoken a little later on with this bunch of messages coming through my phone. So I'm like, man, what this is? Who this is? Who bothered me this evening? Because I was so tired, y'all. So my phone was being flooded with messages with KCX, including KCX himself sending me a clip from his appearance on Eyewitness News's Beyond the Headlines last night with Clint Watson. So I looked through a couple and I was like, what? And then my phone rings and it's Adrian Francis. And Adrian is like, Michelle, you see that clip I sent you? Because he was one of the people who sent it to me as well. I said, man, Adrian, I was so tired. He said, man, you need to go watch that. And so I watched the clip with interest. And I said, well, isn't this interesting? And you know what it reminded me of? There's some pieces of music that the minute you hear it, you can identify it with something. So I didn't have time this morning to look for the music clip. Matter of fact, if we do during the break, I'll send it to Delton because I think I want him to play that as the music bed coming in at the other commercial breaks. Tell me what you think of when you hear this. What that sound like? Three-ring circus. I'm ready to see the ringmaster. And what in the world is going on in this country? My God, my God, my God. You know, Adrian says this all the time. You can't make this stuff up. C. Allen and I were supposed to be talking about something else this morning. And then C. Allen was also one of the people who sent me that last night. Or this morning. I can't remember what he said. And he said, we should talk about this as well. I said, no, that's what we can talk about this morning. And we can save the other topic for another week. Because this is a three-ring circus. I am calling this show today Promises, Power, and Personalities. Promises, Power, and Personalities. Politics in the Bahamas is a very, very interesting thing. Let me bring C. Allen in, and then Delton, you could let me know when those clips are ready. C. Allen, welcome back to GPS, man. What you say?
I like the theme music.
I gotta look for that clip to send to Delton so we can play that in another breaks, because this is a three-ring circus.
Well, we've kind of had a three-ring circus for a number of years now, but now it's like they're adding additional rings on outside of the ring. And and I think when your title is appropriate, when you say when it comes to politics, it's about promises being made by those seeking power, who are nothing more than personalities. So,
and that, in a nutshell, is politics in the Bahamas.
Bahamas, yes.
It is crazy.
We don't have substantive information. What amazed me is I spent most of last night looking in the groups from the various political alternative parties, as they call themselves, as well as in the evolution group, and trying to see if any one of them will address the message as opposed to attacking the messenger. And, because I always look for substantively, not the messenger, the fact that my breath may stink because I told you your house on fire does not eliminate the house being on fire. And so I haven't seen anything being addressed, because I think Ali McIntosh made some pretty strong allegations also in regards to these so-called alliances that's been trying to be formed inside of it. And that's two strong individuals in the public domain. They have been consistently in the public domain at least for almost 2 decades. And so the question then becomes, what type of credibility will you give to their statements? Now, I don't want the dialogue to go that, Mali been trying forever, KCX is angry, jealous, or whatever. The question is, are what they're saying true?
Well, are those clips ready yet? Okay, because I did pull some clips from what Ali said as well, but I want to start with Lincoln because Clinton, those interviewed him by phone. And so I want to start with Lincoln giving his version of why the agreement or the coalition did not work with the Bahamas Constitution Party. So let's go to clip number 1.
The BCP wanted us to use their logo. They were insisting that the BCP wanted us to use their logo. They were insisting that we use the BCP wanted us to use their logo. They were insisting that we use their logo, and their logo is the cross. And so some of the people in our organization, felt like many Christians may have a problem with using the Christian cross. They might be offended by it, and then there might be some people who are not Christians that may be offended by using the cross on the ballot. If people are staunch that they want to let ideology stop them from, saving this country and the state it is in, then I can't stop anyone from having their beliefs. But, my belief right now is that this country needs change, and we need to do anything to make that happen.
When I heard that, I said to myself, well, that seems pretty petty that they couldn't work out their differences over, a logo. It's like, come on, man, if y'all can't work out your differences over a logo, then y'all ain't serious about trying to work together. And then Lincoln went on to talk about why things didn't or aren't seemingly working out with an agreement with the DNA. So let's go to clip number 2. This is again Lincoln Bain from the Coalition of Independents, talking about why it doesn't seem that things are going to work out between them and the DNA. So let's go to clip number 2.
A lot of their supporters and candidates have been reaching out to me, saying that this needs to happen. I've even had the former leader of the DNA reach out to me several times. That's Brian McCartney, and he has, expressed that Lincoln needs to happen. And that the people want this, and we have a chance at this based on what he is seeing out there. And I told him I'm willing. I'm willing to sacrifice whatever it takes. But it seems like in many instances, persons aren't willing to lose their leadership or sacrifice their leadership or risk their leadership to make this happen. But it seems like members of most of these parties are willing to see this happen.
Okay. So again, the first 2 clips we heard from Lincoln Bain, Coalition of Independents leader. And in the first clip, he said that, he and the BCP couldn't agree on a logo. And in the second clip, it seems that the leadership of the DNA really isn't interested in, and many others perhaps not interested in losing their position of leadership. Okay. And then we hear from Ali McIntosh herself. And Ali say, no, that isn't quite the way this went down. This isn't just about a logo, but there's some, in a court of divorce, marriage, etc., they would call it irreconcilable differences between what is happening? What is happening with the stream? Okay, between the independent of the Coalition of Independents and BCP. She said, no, it wasn't quite about a logo, but there were some other key issues that caused us not to be able to come together. So let's go to clip number 3 now.
I think that people have to understand when you go into a coalition, you have to go with shared values. A coalition is based on shared values, preparation to collaborate, preparation for unity and cooperation. And when it comes to power sharing, I think that is the basis of which, one of the main bases of which the Bahamas Constitution Party determined not to go into this agreement with Mr. Bain. And as we said, we presented it. We presented a written paper. Of course, they were just talking. Ali McIntosh liked to come to the table with her homework. And they were just talking. We wanted not to talk. We presented something on the table. They agreed to it. They backed out. We believe that because Mr. Bain is not really committed to power sharing, that's the basis as to why we pull out. He wants to have all the seats. He wants to have the whole balance of power of all the seats.
What do you mean he wants to have the whole balance of power?
If I go there, we talked about what the seats should be. That was the last meeting. That's why the talks fell apart. Because when we talk about seats, he wants all of the seats. What he offered was like mere pittance compared to us coming together in a joint coalition or joint partnership. We would figure if 2 parties come in a joint partnership, we should share the seats equitably.
Right.
But that is not what he wanted. He was offering us mere pittance, like 5
seats out of
10.
Out of the how many seats?
39. Think about it. Is that equity? That's not collaboration. He's not interested.
Well, you don't think
in
so? If you're bringing all these parties together, maybe there's like 6 parties that have 5 seats each.
We were not talking about 6 parties. We were talking about the 2 parties coming together in a coalition. Yes.
Okay.
Because apparently nobody else showed up.
Now, what I find ironic, C. Allen, is that, when Lincoln decided to make it known that he wanted to work with the other third parties, he came out the gate saying, I am willing to step back as leader. This is not about, who will be in charge. I just want us all to come together and, we could work that out. I'm not all about being the leader. And then we hear Ali make that kind of allegation. And it's like, hold on now, that is diametrically opposed to what he said at the beginning of this whole call for the parties to come together. What do you make of that?
I listen to what people say intently, and I also watch what they do. You know, I'm not biased to any political parties. In fact, I think they're nothing more than seeking to be parliamentary pirates. So what happens is, you know, when I listen to Lincoln Bain, you know, I have a problem when he adds a caveat to it. You know, you say, I'm willing to step down, but my people want me to stay, and the majority of people want me to stay, something of that effect. Then you have the other leaders in the parties who also can lay the same claim. And so essentially what I see is that, first of all, it says, how can two walk together unless they agree? I've watched the ideology or professed ideology, somewhat confusing when you listen to them, of at least 20 or so of the political parties that exist today. And there's nothing written concerning what they believe and the basis for which they will build on. And so these are just thoughts of leaders. In fact, your part of your title today speaks about personalities trying to negotiate for leadership position. Personalities and leadership are not one and the same. You know, you have personalities in the public domain, social media, and otherwise. And so I haven't seen any of them demonstrated what I consider competent leadership skills as far as negotiation, communicative competence, as expressing ideas as to what to do that actually ties into our strategies. And so essentially what you have is individuals who say that I've been in the pageantry longer than you, and as such, I should be the one in the front. But the problem is that none of their ideas are accelerating any of them into the front. And so oftentimes people even confuse what an idea is. You know, there is an idea, and then there's an idea with a capital I, where you have an idea that's fully expressed, not just on the what, how, why, and where, and by whom. Whereas you could simply say, I have an idea that we should go to the moon. I have an idea that we should be this and that. And I have an idea that we should do anything. And they cannot really stand up to intellectual scrutiny. And so what you have is you have Ali McIntosh. And I really believe that, knowing Ali McIntosh for almost 20 years, I found her to be credible in her speech, even when she's wrong in her position. She doesn't, you know, shift and change. So I would take what she say with much credibility, because I've known her personally and politically for almost two decades. I also happen to know the deputy leader of the party very intimately for maybe 40-something years, having went to high school and growing up in the same neighborhoods. And I've listened to what he has said both publicly and otherwise. And I don't think that Ali nor he or others that I know within the BCP would actually deliberately try to misalign or damage Lincoln's reputation. So I wondered whether they actually understood the concept of an alliance. And that's the problem, is they still running around with this concept called coalition. And coalition in government happens afterwards. Essentially, what you're seeking to do is to form an alliance in the beginning to make a determination, and then you have to develop these processes, and none exist. I don't think Lincoln Bain can explain to you in detail the process that he wants to use, nor can Ali McIntosh, nor can KGM or RGM or BDM or DNA or PNC or anyone else that is at the plate. And so essentially you must have a clear defined goal before you go into the room to have the discussion, but you just simply can't show up and have a debate where Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, and Blind Blake is going to sit and discuss the color of the rainbow and which one will get to sit on what color. You know, it's just preposterous. And so this is where you have individuals coming together to see who could make the best promises to get power. You know, so you have personalities seeing who could make the best promises to seeking to gain power, as opposed to seeking to govern. You know, I haven't seen anything that has impressed me at this point that would want me to say, I want them to govern me.
And that right there, to me, speaks volumes, because all to me that this back and forth is doing is further muddying the waters as it relates to the options that voters have in this country. I mean, this is quite frankly sad, because I do believe that there is a real force of people out there, a real community out there who are quite frankly sick and tired of the two major parties and are looking for a viable third option. But when this madness is going on, then it's like it's putting people's back against the wall as it relates to choices, because they tired of PLP, they tired of FNM, and they're looking for a viable third option. A lot of people are saying the DNA has not gained sufficient traction with them. And I quite frankly, I think it worked in her favor when Komalafi and the people were arrested the other day, because at least that sort of got something, some kind of way of moving. Yeah. But a lot of people right now, I think all this does is it further muddies the water for people who are already confused. What do you think of that?
No, I agree. Essentially, what happens is we belong to a system that the PLP and the FNM have somehow seemed to master. And so what you have is these alternative parties that lack the ability to swim, that want to go into the deep end of politics. They're not trying to seek to disrupt the system. They are making an argument that they are better equipped to manage the system or fix the system. Here's the problem. The system is not broken. You can't fix what's not broken. So essentially, what we have is an endemic failure of a system that's never designed to empower us anyway, at least our perception of failure. And so essentially, there has to be some rules and policy changes. These individuals are not speaking in regards to that. They're simply saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do whatever. We got our 50-year plan, we have our 5-year plan, we have our vision, we have our desire to be number one. We have, all of these that God has led us to do whatever else. And none of them possesses the communicative competence to express what is needed for a 21st century, digitally enhanced, prepared nation that is now moved into a new global competitive reality where nothing that existed before exists today. And I think Myles Munroe best expressed it. We need leadership that actually understands, but actually stands in the future and guide the Bahamians to this new reality for which the world live in, while shaping a vision for our existence in that new reality. You hear them talking about, we're best equipped to move the chairs on the deck, and I'm just amazed that the buzzword now is natural resources, and people have taken ownership of it. And most people can't tell you what is the 100 plus resources in the Bahamas, or how they are used, or how they can be exploited. And so, for instance, you have people saying they're going to develop sovereign wealth fund and all these different things when they get in. And I would say that if these individuals was competent in what they are speaking, they could have this done now as opposed to later. And if you have the power and the influence that you claim to have, then you can move to bring about the changes. Because I maintain, and I wait for somebody to discount this, the power of the people is and shall always be greater than the people in power. And so it doesn't negate that, in 5 years you must put somebody else in. Because if the power lies with the people, and why do you need to go in to exercise the power of the people? Because the people are not going in. You're going in as a representative of the people, and they themselves should still be exercising the power over you. And so the problem is they're not seeking to harness the power of the people. They're not seeking to give the power to the people, because you try to awaken that reality right now so they can begin to recognize it won't matter who is in power if you exercise who has the authority if you exercise your power. And then make the argument to the people that haven't understand what it is the desire of you, haven't understand where the true power lies. I will then become your representative in the House of Assembly to execute your will, not my ideas. And so you're not having that. And I've listened to the DNA, I've listened to the KGM, RGM, BDM, Coalition of Independence, Evolution Bahamas, everyone is making noise. It's almost like I use the word P squared or PNP. Pirated, and parrot it. And so everybody's parroting, stealing ideas, and parroting to see who's the best one to express those. But no one is expressing a conclusive vision. What you have is people exploiting and angry and a country in distress that doesn't know what's now or what's next. And so essentially I would use the best way to express it is that what we have is carpetbaggers, snake oil salesmen, and charlatans who are basically presenting themselves as leaders to go into the House of Assembly. And the mere fact that they're totally unaware of the power structure or how governance work in the Bahamas or how it should work in the interest of the people shows me that they have ambitions greater than their ability.
All right. Something that you said a moment ago, I think is people need to fully understand. And that is that you can't fix what's not broken. And the reason why you say the system isn't broken is because what you're saying is the system was designed to be the chaos that it is. And so is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. See, we were governed, and here's what happens. I want you to listen very carefully. Our colonial masters came in and colonized us. And the job of colonial masters was to extricate as much wealth as possible out of the country and ship it out. Every few years or 5 years or so, a new governor was sent to these outposts. And his job was to make sure that the residents or the subjects don't rise up and don't cause any chaos. And in exchange for governorship after a period of 1 or 2 terms or whatever, 3 terms, he was recalled and another one was sent in. But when he was called in, he was knighted and given land and properties and the Duke of this or whatever it is, you call it. But notice what our system does now. Our system still creates for the foreigners to come in and extricate the wealth and send it out. The government job is to make sure that just enough is given to the people, just enough dreams or subsistence that they don't rise up and riot. And then individuals seeks to sit and be given titles, honorable, MP, governor, this clerk, or whatever title it is, and CGM and all these other different things. And so the people has basically instituted such a slave effect on the minds of the people. They are continuing the system of oppression. And so if you continue the exact same system that was given to you, man, not that you created, in 48 years, we have not chosen to modify anything of the system that's been given to us. In fact, we chose to exploit the loopholes in the system to basically self-suppress ourselves, to then now even intellectual indoctrination, by saying, the prime minister have ultimate power. And you hear supposedly educated and intellectual repeating this garbage and can't support it within the Constitution. You have individuals saying they're going to change things in the Constitution that's not even there, because the citizens have been dumbed down to believe certain things. We're going to fix the women's right. We're going to fix gaming in the Constitution. We're going to fix the immigration in the Constitution. But when you look contextually for the things they say they're going to change, it is not prohibited in the Constitution. It can be put into law. And so essentially what you see is a quest to possess the tools, the appearance of authority or power, so they could sit on the high table of finance, dress up, wear wigs, and do things that they would never be able to do on their own because they have no title. And so what you have is corrupted people seeking power to express their corruption. And what do you mean by that? It's a lot of people say power corrupts and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. There is no such thing. I maintain that power does not corrupt, nor does absolute power corrupt. Absolutely. What power does, it reveals that which the person was, but was afraid to exercise until they assumed they had the power to protect or to oppress. And so they are corrupted individuals.
We have a caller on the line. C. Allen. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Yes, C. Allen, my name is Des Gardner, right? I'm a builder, right? So I know a whole lot about building, right? I spend my time, my effort, my work right? But you're a person, right, that I would think that you spend a lot of time in this particular discipline, IT, right? Government structures, economics, and banking and the like. I, as a builder, right, I spend some time in those things, some things too, like banking. I read some stuff about banking research, economics, the likes, governance, I have lawyers in my family, doctors in my family, siblings, right? So I'm not a, what you call it, a Bahamian from a household that is not around people who are well learned in particular disciplines, right? So, my question to you is, you are a learned person, right? So how is it that you, especially you never support the third party, and by not supporting any third party or not even assisting the third party or having a party of your own, you understand me? Your power, you have this knowledge. I feel that you should have enough knowledge to form your party, the party that this country needs, rather than hitting down, knocking down the third parties, right? And what that does is that continues to keep that enhance, catalyze these two parties to continue to oppress us. You see, like, I hear you talk about the powers of the prime minister. I say the prime minister powers of the executive. In that the power of the prime minister, he appoints his cabinet. And there's the Constitution doesn't give a minimum number of cabinet ministers, but doesn't give a maximum number. That in itself is all power to the prime minister. Much more power. The prime minister has the power of the legislature.
Pause right there. Can you pause right there? You made a number of points. I just want you to pause that one right there because that's very important for people to understand. The power of the people is and shall always be greater than the people in power. And here's the point. The power that we think, the way the structure of government is, it doesn't run from the top down. It actually runs from the bottom up. This is why they come back to the people every 5 years. And here's the point I make. The prime minister is nothing more, in spite of his appointments, the chairman of cabinet. Cabinet is appointed from parliamentarians, even if the executive outnumber the judiciary. And the parliament answers to the people. And so if the people were to exercise their power over their individual members of parliament, then they would be held to a level of accountability even on a weekly basis. And in spite of them sitting in the House of Assembly, they would have to prove on a weekly basis that they represent the interests and the voice of the majority of people. That would translate that whenever in cabinet, because at any given time, 51%, 50 plus 1% of the individuals in cabinet need only disagree with the prime minister. And by virtue of that alone, the fact that that executive is the majority of parliament is a vote of confidence. So I'm saying the prime minister power lies in emasculated men and women without ovarian audacity, not in the Constitution.
But it's not the power of the people. The power of the people is every 5 years. That's it.
No, because the people choose to exercise that on a 5-year basis does not remove the fact that they are the power.
The only thing to change that is civil disobedience, riots and the like. That's the only thing.
I would disagree. You know what changes it? You go into your constituency, a member of parliament, and organize the individuals around you. And then you go and you hold your individual member of parliament accountable, that he represents the interests that you want. If you want a sovereign wealth fund, make sure that he understands that. If you want better neighborhoods, if you want better schools, if you want better housing, whatever it is that you want as a constituency, and to make sure on a weekly basis that he says so. And when he don't, you call a press conference or you call a meeting and demand that he attend and ask him or her Why is it they are not expressing that thing? And let the public know. And when you, as a constituency, join with other constituencies who do the same thing, you will be amazed when 20 constituencies begin to make a demand of their members of parliament and hold them accountable. You don't hire somebody to run your life and then take a 5-year vacation and check back to see how your life is doing. Get involved in your life and in your governance. See, the fact that you make excuses as to why you don't get involved with your life, your country, your family, your community, doesn't negate the fact that it's still you.
Guys, we have to take a break.
You can organize anything. You can organize as much march or
Isn't organizing a party what you're asking of me? Isn't organizing a constituency less trouble?
See, I can't debate you nowhere. You want to talk, Joe, and I can't debate you.
I need you to make your point, caller, and wrap us up. We got to take a break.
My point is that, right? See, Alan is a man that nobody puts the hard questions to him, and I'm here to put the hard questions to him, but I'm not allowed to. There's no freedom.
No, you are to. But here's my point. I don't want to keep this right. Let me say it. 443. No, listen to me. 443-7189, and you and I can have a public discussion for 2 or 4 hours.
No, but me dialoguing with you one-to-one, it ain't the power. That's the power. Me dialoguing with you, how you dialoguing with the masses. That's the power. Word, sound, and power.
I'm saying to you, in the same way I'm appearing on this show, you can appear on the show with me, and we can dialogue with the same masses.
Right. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That's
Okay.
the one. It's not nothing like that. Let us set that up in dialogue.
So, gentlemen, you all work that out off the air. See, because
Right,
guess
and
what?
that's my number, 443-7189.
And we have to make sure that their commercials play. So
The money is responsible for the air.
we have to take a break. We have to take a break. We're going to take a commercial break. Caller, if you want to stay on the line, you're free to do so, but we have to take this commercial break. So let's do that, and then we will come back and continue our conversation. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Dress, hats off, looking like I walked out of catalog. Everybody wanna know where I got it from. Catwalk, boutique, where we make fashion statements. Catwalk, boutique, where we make fashion statements.
For the latest styles of women's clothing and accessories, visit Catwalk Boutique on Robinson Road East at the Helron Plaza. At Catwalk Boutique, we make fashion statements.
Boy, here calamity. Boy, don't want that be me. Let me get this coverage, do it once and for all. Insurance management is who I gonna call.
When calamity strikes, we're here to keep you safe and secure. With offices in Nassau, Freeport, Abacoy, Lutheran, and Exuma. Insurance management, we cover the Bahamas.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Yeah, y'all. Y'all know what the music means, right? 3 ring circus. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm calling this show today Promises, Power, and Personalities. Looking at recent developments in the political landscape here in the Bahamas, more specifically a show that Clint Watson did last evening, and we heard from Lincoln Bain and Ali McIntosh and KCX, and very interesting developments there on that show. Before we go on, I want to read a couple of your comments. Felicia says, those interviews did not make any of them look good, to be honest. And Felicia also goes on to say, I think those parties should have used the platform last night to highlight their plans rather than ganging up on Lincoln Bain. Kevin says, lone egos, that's all. That is, everybody want power. Let's see. Patricia, and this is a very serious comment because this is how a lot of people feel. I'm despairing of this election. Boy, Patricia, welcome to the club. Felicia says, why are third parties ganging up on each other? This makes no sense. Let's see. Kelvin is watching from Ontario, Canada. Thank you, Kelvin, for tuning in. Christoph says, they called Lincoln and want to run the party. Okay. Olivia, wait, a lot of comments today. Olivia says, well, everybody remain as they are. Who wins will have to form a government. That brings me to a good point. And see, Alan touched on it earlier. And that is what really a coalition means. Because listen, there are countries around the world that have coalition governments. But that coalition comes together after the election, not before. I want to go to Ali McIntosh's next clip because she expressed in this clip her view of what she thinks is supposed to happen as it relates to this whole concept of a coalition. Let's go to that next clip, please.
If we are going to invite other parties in, we could just wrap them around. So if we have shared seats and we need to put somebody else in, we could give 2, you give up 2, I give up 2, you give up 4, I give up 4, in order to get persons in. But I don't think he was prepared to share power.
But wouldn't this have given you the opportunity to emerge as a leader? Because he had said initially he was willing to step down as a leader and have somebody else lead. So that would mean if it was just the 2 of you, you would have been able to walk into the leadership seat.
That's just talk. I mean, y'all did a press conference with him where he declared in the middle of our negotiations that he has 35 seats and he's going to ratify the other 4 seats. So when you say that in the middle of negotiations, that means the public statement in the middle of a negotiation says, this is where I stand. So you're going to have to stand down. So we decide we were not going to meet with him based on the public statement. But the fact that they urged, let's go ahead and meet. I've been in negotiations for many, many years in terms of things like this. We wasn't going to meet because I said he declared it publicly, so we know what to do. But we decided, let's go ahead and meet. And when we met, then we come up with this discussion that caused it to be irreconcilable because he is saying, what do you bring to the table? I mean, the Bahamas Constitution Party is 22 years old. The Bahamas Constitution Party is running its 3rd elections. Lincoln Bain is running his 1st election. In fact, he's only 3 months old, not even 3 months. But he asked us what we bring to the table. And in that regard, he wants to offer us 5 seats. So, that was obviously untenable with us. And we determined if he's not prepared to collaborate, if he's not prepared to share power, if he's not prepared to be equitable in terms of how we share the seats, we had to back away from the conversation.
Were there grounds that you did agree on?
We agreed on all the grounds before. Only thing we had to decide was the candidates. And because if we were saying the two of us get together in this coalition, 90 and 20, as in terms of 39, we're prepared to give him the 20. In that regard, if his candidates, his 20, won more seats than we, obviously he would come out the leader. So we didn't have to decide that now. If my candidates won more seats, then of course I would be the leader. But he was not taking any chances. He didn't want to take any chances. He just wanted to go ahead and make sure that everything was in his favor. And if you can't operate in good faith, then obviously we don't need to be talking. That's important.
Do you believe this separation will make it harder for other parties to be able to capture voters' attention? I mean, I had said before that I thought it was agreeable, it was a good idea for people to come together and form a coalition. You still can maintain your parties at the end of the day, but for this one cause, you fight together. But now if you have 10 different parties fighting 10 different causes, it pulls behemoths in so many different directions. Those who support you will vote for your BCP. Those who like what he may present may vote for coalition. Those who like the DNA will vote for DNA. And at the end of the day, when you have behemoth votes who want change and don't want the status quo parties being split in perhaps 10 different directions, then you have those who still remain with these larger parties. They end up still having the majority of votes because of votes being split. Do you believe that makes it much harder now for parties like yourself?
Well, I don't think that it is necessary for us to put 9 or 10 parties on. I do believe, and based on what the BCP has crafted in terms of partnership for governance, we should have at least 2 major coalitions going into this election.
Okay, is that how this thing works, C. Allen, when it comes to coalition governments?
No, let me answer that. Let me answer that. The word is actually alliance.
Right. Now explain the difference between an alliance and a coalition, because they've been used interchangeably, and quite frankly, I think people locally are getting it wrong. Caller, just bear with us. We're going to come to you as soon as C. Allen finishes answering this question.
Is easily answered. A coalition is a term in governance that's occurred afterwards. In the beginning, you have an alliance. An alliance says that we will all align together where we have similarities and differences. We can try to work them out to form up with a singularity platform that we could go to that doesn't dilute what we have. The key word there is that we form an alliance to go into this election. After the election, you form a coalition of those who make it into parliament to form the various positions that need to be filled and to adopt policies that is necessary for the continuation of good governance. And so the word coalition is not wrong in unto itself, but when you use it in the context of governance, it is wrong because it gives the wrong message. And this is the problem they're having. They're all trying to choose positions before they get elected. And so essentially, the way an alliance works is that let's use our constitution, which is a bastardized version of the parliamentary democracy. But there's three things in there, because and our constitution says the party with the most votes, the most members of parliament, who have to command respect of the most members in the House of Assembly, so the leader of the party who demands the most of those in parliament, respect of those in parliament, leads the government. The second, and there's a second part and the third part. The alliance must agree that it is going to forego, number one, which calls for the leader of a party if an election is won, because Ali may won for 6 seats and Lincoln may won 5, and then let's say we pretend that we get on the 39 and the others have less. That would automatically make Ali the prime minister based on that argument in the Constitution. That alliance must agree that we're going to forego number 1 and we're going to forego number 2, and we're going to go automatically number 3, where it says the person in the House of Assembly that commands the most respect from all the members would be called to form government. And then it goes, and then they will look for the most competent person who could bring together a coalition to form government. But what is happening is these individuals don't seem to, or they know they do know, and they're trying to position themselves as leader so they too could become the king as perceived, called by the other caller. And so this is corruption or the misunderstanding of the very thing they're claiming that they want to govern. How could you govern? How could you govern if you don't know what it is you're seeking to govern? How could you govern if you don't know how to govern? And
well, not only that, but If you're coming with the same concept, then what's the difference between you and the PNP and an F&M? Let's go to the phone calls. Phone caller. Caller, welcome to the paradigm shift.
Yes, good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Cialan.
Morning.
Good morning.
It's an interesting show today.
Thank you.
The caller called out Cialan. Well, that's interesting. I just want to say a few things. One of them being that we've been taught for so long just not to trust each other. You know, that's a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when it comes to politics or the dirty political game in this country, it even intensifies what I said just then. You had activists rise up, look at We March and look at this one and that one. People put their hopes in their message and they were let down. Both parties, well, we could look at their report card and see what they've done for us so far. I think it's trusting one another, and we don't have that. And that's been mentally ingrained in our psyche, I think. You know.
Well, caller, my response to that, caller, and I'll let Cialan jump in right now. But my response to that is, when it comes to things like trust and respect, that is earned. That doesn't happen by osmosis. And so, if you have a track record that shows that you are not to be trusted, don't come to me and ask me to trust you just because.
I agree completely. Now we're gonna completely leave the F&M and the PLP out of this equation because the report card is nasty. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, with these new parties, the party that the lady who was interviewed on Ted Watson's show, who she represents, I haven't heard of her. Now I may have glimpsed the icon, the logo with the cross, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't lie to you. Lincoln has a point there. That could turn off or turn on, or that create an effect, that unsavory effect for the voters. They see a cross on the ballot sheet. So I wouldn't even bother with that. Now, that being said, I haven't heard of that. There's a number of third parties I haven't heard of. However, I've heard of DNA.
She's the longest surviving third party on the Obama's record. 23 years.
Okay. But I haven't heard, I have not seen her in the spotlight. I haven't heard her or any of her associates so far. Now, seeing the DNA, their presence has been felt for a while now. Even Lincoln just came around in the coalition of independents. They're everywhere. They're all on Facebook and they're all over the road. Okay? They are making their presence felt. That's the difference. Okay? Now, that means I go back to my go ahead.
Yeah, on your system of trust. You should trust, but you should verify. And it isn't a matter of trust, It isn't a matter, what a vision does? A vision doesn't use a stick to make people follow you. It inspires individuals to follow you. And so when you look at the coalition of these alliances or even the third parties that is formed, which you said that the person called me out, what you saw was the arrogance of ignorance came to be expressed in my presence. And what I mean by that, there is no political party that has formed in this country since 2002 that the leadership does not know me personally or have spoken or have engaged me. And in fact, I would be so arrogant to say that when you hear third parties in this country, you're hearing me.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I hear you. Well, that being said, I'm wondering right now, out of everybody that's in the spotlight right now, politically, and the third parties, it seems like all of the limelight, like couple spotlights, are on Lincoln Bain. It's interesting.
Can I say something there, caller? Can I say something there? I think we have to be very careful, and we've seen this happen around the world. And this is not in any way to speak against Lincoln Bain or anybody. I'm just making a point here.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be very, very careful not to go down the road of popularism being a prerequisite for qualifying for leadership. Yes, because we have seen that happen. And my opinion is you look to the north.
Yeah, you can take today's title. You can take today's title.
Yeah, everybody knows how I feel about Trump, right? Trump, I think, came to power because he said all the right things. He said what people wanted to hear.
People were tired of the establishment. And he said all the right things, and he was popular because everybody knew him from television. And you know, some may say, Michelle, you're wrong. But he got into that position, and I thought, like Obama said once about him, he never graduated to doing, he never upgraded to doing the work.
No, but you're right, Michelle. You're right.
So we have to be very, very careful of this popularism thing. Because just because you're popular don't mean you could lead.
But that wasn't my point, Michelle. And I think what you're saying is, of course, I agree. Can
I answer your point?
When hasn't that happened in this country? When hasn't that
happened?
It doesn't.
But I'm saying, good question.
If you are right about that,
why don't you continue doing?
Hold on, y'all. We could all talk together, but we can't all talk together. One second, Ciaran. Caller, if you are right about that, when hasn't that happened in this country? Where has that gotten us?
Right, and as I'm saying to you, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, are you expecting a different result?
Ciaran, let me say one thing. Let me get this out quick. All right. If I don't speak, if I don't tell you what my vision is, what I'm going to do, okay? How are you going to know what my plans are? So I have to say something. I have to promise you. I have to tell you what I'm going to do. But see, the thing about it is we've been getting let down for so long, since the Brindle Road riot almost, until we don't know where to place our trust, because everybody's doing the same song and dance that they've been doing from the original PLP who's in power.
Right. Yes, good point.
It's like Russian roulette right now. It's like Russian roulette. Shoot the dice.
But you don't have to. You have a choice. You have a choice to demand more. And so essentially what you said is this. Lincoln Bain is known. The people around him are not known. And I'm simply saying to me, when you come in to be my representative, you can't tell me what Lincoln Bain says, especially when I can disqualify and not be able to quantify and what has been said. So I'm simply saying to you, why don't you go and question, and you can do this to all the political parties. Don't tell me what your leader can do, because now you're telling me that everything is what's going to happen. Lincoln said this is going to happen. Lincoln said we're going to get 100,000. Lincoln said we're going to have free electricity. Lincoln said we're going to have this. Lincoln said we're going to have this. Then you go and question those individuals around him, and they say, Lincoln says that. Well, he will do it. Why you don't believe him? And I say, good, let him run in the 39th constituency. And by the way, nothing in our constitutional law prohibits him from not running in our 39th constituency. So what I'm simply saying is we can't keep doing the same thing over and over, getting different results, and say we've been doing this all along. If we are seeking change, the change that we say is here, then it has to begin with us. We have to become the change we want. We must change the mindset that somebody's come to save us. The guy that you said, he said, why don't you form a political party? Well, he hasn't checked. I form almost all of them in conjunction by providing intellectual capital. So I'm simply saying this, why don't you say it yourself rather than look and see Alan Johnson? I know my position is POT, provision of time that's ordained by God. My job for the time being is to provide the information. Even when I see that information misused and abused for selfish purposes, I don't have a problem in calling it out. I have no love for any individual more than I have love for myself. I'm in this boat. And just because you happen to be able to impress someone doesn't make me impressed by you. You must impress me. And I think I'm the lowest common denominator for any leader that's seeking to lead this country. And so if anybody wants to question, they say, what are these people's ideas? Then, you know, it's a good thing for you to have. You should challenge consider me a neutral party and have the PLP leader, the DNA leader, the FNM leader, the Coalition of Independence leader, the BDM leader, and all of them sit down with me and have a conversation. And let's talk about a vision for a new Bahamas.
I answer the question. I don't want to hang up. I don't want to hang up and listen to you. Okay. Have you looked over the prospectus for Coalition of Independence Vision 2022? Sorry.
I did, but I didn't have to. It's in my head before they said it.
Okay. Is it feasible? Do you think it can be done? Not will it be done.
No, not the way they said it will be done. Because, in fact, it is conflated.
So it doesn't make sense. I suggest your personal opinion is.
So far, I haven't heard any political party say anything that makes sense. That's what confounds me, is Bahamians are impressed by utterances. No thought. You know what they've talked about? Bahamians are impressed by talk, no thought.
All right, caller. Thank you so much.
Hey, caller, I would invite anyone to call me out on this. Don't mumble behind your say, and don't send your surrogate say what C. Allen say. If you're the leader, come yourself.
Gotcha. You'll be blessed.
Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate your call.
Okay.
Okay. I want to read a couple of comments and a couple of texts. So this comment is from Carolyn. She says, "My Lord, these people are doing the same thing the DNA did and ended up with 0 seats. It is so easy. Vote among yourselves for the various positions, so at least you obtain a few seats in the end."
See, but Michelle, you know what that requires? Yeah. It requires individuals to come to table as equal. I think Jesus said it best: to enter the kingdom, you must come as a child. You know what a child says? Devoid of your predetermined positions that you have, that you must defend. You know, a child is innocent, open for discussion, open for new ideas, etc. And so the problem is that these individuals come to the table with their ambitions, and they bring no ability to the table. And so that even at the table, you have to have the ability to convince others that your argument or your position is superior to any of the others. Not simply say, well, I've convinced a bunch of people based on my singular idea that I have not had the opportunity to have tested against your idea, and I got the most followers. If that's the case, then the best way for the third parties is to now move into the public domain and have a debate for leadership of an alliance. And then let each leader express a vision, not a book of ideas. I want to know what, when, how, and by whom, and be able to have a discussion and have it tested. Remind you, you're not governing in absence of C. Allen Johnson. You know, that's why I said I'm the lowest bar. You are having a discussion with international individuals who have 100, 200 lawyers and firms and stuff, who is way superior in as far as intellectual capital and negotiation than me. And so if you can't pass even C. Allen as the lowest bar, as a person that's well-researched and data intensive, then how is it that you're going to say that you're going to now sit at the high table of finance and engage in other individuals? That's why I tell individuals, I have no problem in having my ideas tested and called out. But don't call me out on what you think, what you believe, what you hope for, what you pray for, what you was told. If you want to call me out, come and tell me what you know.
Okay, I want to read a couple more comments and then we are going to take another break. This one is from Rochelle. Rochelle says, "What the hell with it? Let everybody stay by themselves and let the chips fall where they may." Kevin says,
Excellent point. Go as an independent and go into your thing and convince that small group of 6,000 people that you're the best person to represent them.
Kevin says, "The third party is supposed to come together from they start. From I see them ratifying candidates, I knew it wouldn't work." Okay, could it work, C. Allen? If the personalities sort of, put the egos down, could it work? And if so,
yes.
How?
Yes, but here's the problem you have to do. You have to understand what it is you're seeking to govern. It says seek first to understand, then to be understood. So the fact is that they don't understand, and how can I understand you? And so essentially what you have to do is you have to first come and have a covenant of governance on how governance would work to see if anybody can agree to it. And so the fact that you want a table of equal, first of all, the prime minister is supposed to be first among equals, the person who commands the most respect amongst those individuals. So let's sit down at the table, and you may find out that when you actually choose the seat of this coalition, and this is where you have to, the leadership need not be afraid. The leadership himself have to be able to put that seat that he want on the table, because there may be somebody more qualified than the so-called leader of one of these third parties to run in the seat he or she is seeking. But you see, they want to come to the table and says, well, this is my seat over here, this is my reserve. So here it is that you have these 6 parties coming together. You already chose 6 seats that's reserved for you, and you can't even prove that you're the most competent person for that particular seat. That's what a real alliance for changing the Bahamas is about, and recognizing that you're not going in there to represent you. You're going in there to represent the people, the ideas, the dream, and the vision of the people. not you, okay? Because you are an individual. We're talking about a country, okay? And so the problem is everybody wants to go in there, and it's about them. And this is where the failure of the FNM and PLP come. The leaders say, this is the slave, remember the slave mentality? Master, we sick? Master, our house burned down? Master, we having a bad day? It's the same thing. The leader, the brave David say, the Hubert Minnis say, Lincoln Bain say, Ali McIntosh say, Kamalafi say. You know, what happened to what the party says? A collective intelligence of those individuals within that party that represent the collective intelligence and the will of the people. But we have these cult of personalities, exactly what you said. We have personalities making promises, seeking power.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what it boils down to. Okay, I want to read one more comment and then we're going to take another break. Bertha says, the Bahamians ain't ready for togetherness. They still on that party run. Until we learn to love each other and stop being all for me, baby, things will never change. All parties to sound good until they get a hold of that power. The power got to be sweet, boy, because I have never seen this many people and parties coming forward for those handful of seats. There's something going on here. And like I said on a previous show, either that means that this is a good, a healthy democracy, or that means that we got some lousy leaders and everybody in their ma think they could do a better job, or both. I'm going to let you marinate on that. Huh? What did you say?
Hermit crab leadership. They see empty shells. Hermit crab seeing empty shells called leadership they want to fill.
My God, my God. We have to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to continue, and we're going to play on the other side of the break that appearance of KCX on Beyond the Headlines last night. Yeah, it's going to get interesting. Stay with us, y'all. This is GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM.
Located on Carmichael Road, Divine Designs Hair Boutique is a haven for women and men looking for professional beauty services. Our state-of-the-art and contemporary equipment creates a relaxing ambiance for you to enjoy while we cater to you. Need a hairstylist? We cater to all types and textures of hair for care and styling. We even have a barber on duty. Need a nail tech? Our technicians provide a range of nail services, including the latest trends. Unwind in one of our massage chairs while you get your pedicure. With our reasonable rates, friendly staff, and over 20 years of experience, you will be in great hands. Call us at 823-1669 or 698-1025 to schedule your appointment. Want to be pampered? Want to be slayed? Let Divine Designs make your day.
Looking for an extraordinary junior high school with caring, qualified staff and affordable tuition? Then come visit us at Elite School of Excellence, an affiliate of First Step Academy. ABECA-focused and Ministry of Education approved, we foster discipline, integrity, and wisdom while molding our students for success. Call us at 341-8846 or stop by First Step Academy Schools on Fire Trail and Soldy Roads for more information.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
For moms-to-be and your little ones, there's Baby Bliss, the baby shower specialist, with the best selection of shower gifts, care items, and gender reveal rentals. At Baby Bliss, we carry only the finest brands to comfort mother and baby. From preemie to 24 months, we are truly the ultimate baby store. Mimi is a new tradition in ladies apparel, featuring fabulous fashions, sizes small to 3X. Look like you just stepped off the runway with trending, stylish selections that bring out the fashionista in you. Making a statement is easy when you shop at Mimi. Visit us both at the Mackey Street Plaza.
Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Piratesville, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room, sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. You're looking like me. You're looking for the ringmaster, right? And the elephants and the tight rope walking people, and yeah, because this is sacred. This is circus, y'all. This is circus. There got to be a big tent around here somewhere. Where all of it, because I have never seen so much mix up and confusion as it relates to this whole third party coalition, independents coming together, all parties coming together, yada, 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 yada. And now we hearing you can't be trusted and you can't be trusted, and you saying one thing and meaning something else. And oh man, let me bring C. Allen back in here, and then we are going to go to a couple of comments and text.
Michelle, before you go there, can I say something? Because somebody just WhatsApped me saying that I just want. Sound like I want to lead them. Let me just say a point.
Mm-hmm.
I know every single one of the leaders of each of those parties. I speak to many of them on a consistent basis. For the record, if you want to know, I am the interim leader of a legitimized party called the United Democratic Party that was once led by Gregory Moss. In fact, it is the last third party to sit in the House of Assembly from the last cohorts of the House of Assembly. And so we are the last third party to sit in the House of Assembly. And I am the interim leader. We have chosen to, for the time being, to observe as opposed to participate. But if it's necessary that they're only going to be leaders of individuals as far as parties concerned, I can be considered as one of the most legitimized of all third party states, having been legitimized on the floor of the House of Assembly during the 2012 to 2017 session. And
okay, so you're pretty much answering this statement, and then caller, we coming to you right now because we have a caller on the line. So this statement from Oswald says, Michelle, why C. Allen Johnson has all of this information and knowledge and spending his life on the outside looking in. C. Allen become the change you want to see. We need you in leadership because these MPs are in for 5 years and party loyalty. There's no recall system in place, so they don't feel pressured. So I guess you just answered.
If they want leadership, we could lead from the outside because I don't have to become your worker to help you lead the country, and that's the argument I've been teaching and educating. But let me just say,
make it quick, very
quickly, in joining a party, I've heard that one bad apple makes the whole bunch, the whole basket bad. But I've never heard one good apple turning a bunch of bad apples good.
Well, that's an interesting concept. I've frequently said, because people say to me all the time, which constituency you running for? And when I say I'm not interested in politics, we need you. Listen, you don't have to be a politician to make a change. You don't have to be a politician to positively impact your nation. Matter of fact, if everybody was in parliament, then who would keep them accountable? Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Michelle, thank you so very much for that last statement you made. I want to say good morning to my brother, C. Allen. That brother, you know, people don't understand when I have certain criticism, what I call good criticism for him. But him, this guy, he's a great Bahamian. And I am supporting everything coming out of his mouth. Now, C. Allen, you know, Amos might not agree with everything every day. There is not much you have said that I disagree with. In 15 plus years you were talking since you came back from school. However, you use the word alliance, and you're a smart man. And these people are using the word coalitions. Now, I have a plus in between the two of them, and it's called association. The reason why, C. Allen, I would add, if you would agree with me, you can say, the third parties, and Michelle spoke about viability, and the third parties, and so forth, the DNA, and how they don't have enough traction. And one of the reasons for that is because in between alliance and coalition, Michelle, I have, and unfortunately I'm talking for myself, so I cannot see how beautiful you look today on Facebook until I finish talking, then I go on Facebook. But associations is not a word like the word alliance. They are two major words that the Bahamian people are acting like they don't know, meaning the leaders of these parties. Okay, the PLP knows it, the FNM knows it. That's why they have governed so long. The Bahamian people, yes, Michelle and C. Allen, will do much better when we recognize if we cannot individually speak honestly, with integrity, truthfully on the issues that are affecting individually us, then and create an association of that. And that is why some of the things I want to say are why I agree with my good brother C. Allen. Brother C. Allen, Amos Jr. Miller will stand with you as long as you take this position. I don't want the FNM and the PLP, I am not a part of none of them. Because I vote for you don't mean I'm a part of you. And besides, your actions spoke louder than your words as relates to C. Allen and Amos and Michelle and our families who have died, okay, with the knowledge or without the knowledge that we possess today as relates to the real issue, the two elephants in the house that no leader want to touch. And those two elephants is called the President and Prime Minister of America and Great Britain. And what their role are in the Bahamas and in the affairs of individual Bahamians. I'm talking straight, crooked, however you want to call it. But I know one thing, C. Allen, everything you have to say as relates to aligning. They don't want to align themselves, Michelle, because in our association, everyone is equal. Everyone is equal. That's why they don't want to talk about that. They don't want no equality around here. Listen to me. If they wanted equality, they would speak about their individual association collectively coming together and joining forces, like what C. Allen is talking about. C. Allen, if I had ever finished R.M. Bailey, go on to college and university and be sitting on the side of you when you come with these stuff. See, you got the knowledge.
Amos, wrap it up now. Wrap it up.
Michelle. So in conclusion, I love the show, okay? And I want the Bahamian people to understand, if you and I cannot make a difference outside of Parliament, and furthermore have not made a difference in this country outside of Parliament, you will never, ever get to change anything when you get in. Because listen, if you're not the Prime Minister and the whip is on, what could you do?
Okay, thank you so much, Amos.
Thanks, Allen.
Thanks, Amos.
Okay.
Okay,
right, just let me say, his idea of association is what we call political parties, an association of individuals.
Okay. All right, we have another call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, good morning again.
Good morning.
One couple of things I need to say. Okay. I'd like to say that my view is that the only thing that DNA needs or any third party needs to win the government and to win consecutive terms is to sign the right contract with the people. That means to promise to get there and to deliver to win consecutive terms. Basic things, and they need to decide to decide which demographics they're gonna or who their base is gonna be. And the smartest thing for them to do is the people that need government the most should be their base. That's the poor people. So the poor people need things like access to medical care, right? Equal access. They need a livable wage, right? And they need and the basic things that they need things like to deliver those things. They need income tax. That's basics. That's like step one. That's basics for revenue to acquire these things. You got income tax. Yes.
Yeah.
You see, so it ain't about knowing what governance is about. Because anybody with O levels in English language could learn what governance is about in 1 week.
So learn on the job. That's what you're saying.
Learn on the job. They have to learn on the job. Pick up the book. They don't have to learn on the job. Same way how C. Allen could go and use the time and effort to learn what governance is about. They could do the same thing. Any high school student with an O levels and English, and we have thousands of them in this country. So it ain't about knowledge. You don't have to be able to build a car to own a car.
All right. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
Michelle, he's correct. Let me tell you why what he said is powerful. If you want to govern, go learn how to govern. And that's the problem we have with individuals representing themselves as wanting to govern. They don't know whether they're seeking to govern. But he's correct on income tax also. Income tax, but here's the point. On the resources that is needed for governance, before we even get to income tax, there's some things we could do right now, today, before minutes cause an election. And if we get together and make a demand of it, we can pass it. One of the simplest things to do right now is for us as a country to come together and demand that a sovereign wealth fund be established, not the ones they've been offering us, a competent, real one that says all assets of the Bahamas, known and unknown, seen and unseen, tangible and intangible, be deposited into the sovereign wealth fund. And beginning today, the simplest thing that we have available right now that the world is seeking and right now is something called carbon credits. Aragonite is carbon credits. The mangroves is carbon credit. Our trees are carbon credit. Our seas are carbon credits. And so all we have to do is go past that law within the next week, and we could begin to collect 12, at least. If we discount it, we could collect $6 billion a year. Our national budget is $3 billion. So these are not things, if a political leadership wants it, don't need to wait and say, send me, I will do it. He would inspire the people to make the demand now of 20 individuals that they pass these laws right now. And it isn't what you will do, C. Allen. It's not about me. It's about us.
Well, I know one thing, that as it relates to that sovereign wealth fund, we need to understand that is to ideally be run by an independent body. That has nothing to do with the government of the Bahamas, because we have a problem with accountability and honesty in this country, and I dare say that and transparency, and I dare say that many of the people that have been elected to Parliament are only a reflection of a wider problem that we have as it relates to that. And so, a couple of years ago, I remember one of the political parties, their slogan was, "It's a matter of trust." Remember that, C. Allen? It's a matter of trust.
Yeah. It's a matter of trust, right?
Well,
first, they also had restoring your trust too.
Yeah. Well, speaking of trust, one of the most explosive, I think, segments on the show last night was with KCX, who said some very, very, very serious things about his relationship with Lincoln Bain. So let's go to that clip. I will let the clip speak for itself.
Well, Ali said something was so spot on. It was the efforts of Mike movement, the Enough movement, that actually gave him we galvanized that movement. we were on the scene talking about natural resources from as long as I could remember, over 30 years. And in terms of natural resources, Mr. Bain knows absolutely nothing about natural resources. You know, and his method of giving everyone $100,000 is almost impossible. Can you imagine? You're going to go in competition with a company that has been in business from 1955. You're not going to use the odious agreements to have them abrogated, but yet you want to go in competition with them. Here's the dilemma. You don't have any customers. You don't have any equipment. You don't have no staff. All of the contracts for mining in the Bahamas are odious agreements. Nothing beneath the watermark belongs to anybody but the Bahamian people, even the one here in Grand Bahama. As a matter of fact, we have 4 mining taking place here in Grand Bahama. 4. And, you know, he makes this statement that he had to go to Great Britain to find these documents. Just type in Delaware, Bahamas Aragonite, and the documents are right there. I can't allow someone to lie to the Bahamian people. I've been fighting for them for too long. This is madness. I asked Mr. Lincoln Bain, I said, well, what is wrong with the documents? These documents, they went through Parliament, they're signed off, and tell me, what's wrong with them? He said, well, why would they need to make dummy companies? I said, well, that's an international law called an arm's length agreement. He's in over his head. He knows nothing about natural resources. And I can tell you, Clint, on the 15th of December in the House of Assembly, if you know how the House works, if the governing party says something in the House of Assembly, like a Mr. Kenrick Dawson, he says these words: the Bahamas government and its in the minerals of the Bahamas and likes of that of Norway. He just said that the Bahamas is the richest country in the world. So the government of the Bahamas knows how wealthy we are. The opposition did not say, hey, we are not wealthy. As a matter of fact, all of the conversation that has been taking place in the House of Assembly, Clint, we've been distracted.
Clips that I received, he actually went on to say that he had been stabbed in the back by Mr. Bain. And he he alleged that Mr. Bain was not to be trusted. Now, we have a couple of people who are chiming in, both on Facebook and in terms of our text. So I have a text that says, long story short, Lincoln Bain cannot be trusted. Look at his record. I mean that politically. And then we have a couple of people on Facebook who are agreeing with those sentiments. Stacy says, I warned you all about Lincoln Bain. His name and reputation is rotten on the streets. How important, C. Allen, is it that people are able to be comfortable in trusting your word, whether you be PLP, FNM, DNA, Constitution Party, Coalition of Independence, whatever party you represent? How important is your word? And I ask this specifically in the context of the Bahamas because, sometimes I wonder if we are on the same planet as everybody else, the things that we allow our politicians to get away with. How important is that?
Let me just first say that we all have a past, but it's what we do in the present that counts. But your word is the most important thing there is. As a young man growing up, my mother and father told me, if someone finds you butt naked in the road with no resources and no wealth, and they can't even take your word, you have nothing. And so if you can't say what you mean what you say, and for people to be able to trust but verify what it is you said, and be able to depend on you giving it, or for you coming back with a justifiable, acceptable reason as to why you are incapable of keeping your word. Not that I just didn't feel like it, but a reason why, then you have nothing to offer the people. Because if you can't just give your word, then what are the things that you can give? Because that's the easiest thing to do. Let your word be your bond. And so when you have leadership where people begin to question the authenticity of the promises they make, but they mean by that by the ability to keep it based on past performances, then that's begin what is called broken trust. And as you say, trust is like a glass. You can drop it and break into hundreds of pieces. You can glue it together again, but it'll always have a reminder of the trust that has been broken, and that's where the glass comes together. And so I would tell anyone seeking leadership, let your word be your bond. Say what you mean what you say, and begin to recognize even when you are wrong in the past, to be able to acknowledge it. You don't build upon a lie. And they says it becomes foundation of nothingness. So, and that's the problem. There's so many people who shift positions with no justification of the positions they've shifted from or to, and simply say, just believe me this time.
I want to read a comment. This is from Anton Wallace. He says, the question is, does the independent candidate have the same influence as a candidate from a major party? Can a candidate from a major party still win their constituency as an independent? A paradigm shift in thinking needs to happen with our electorate. The power of the people is greater than the people in power. Purpose, vision, and implementation is needed when vying for leadership. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Malcolm.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Johnson.
Good morning, 52.
Yeah, you had said something earlier, and so, I was wondering why I was in a certain narrative as far as the sovereign wealth fund and bringing down the debt. The thing is, I'll say two quick things and I just listen to your comment. The debt for nature swap and the carbon credits, right? Hello?
Yes.
We're listening. Go ahead.
And the debt for nature swap and the carbon credits, right? So I had asked this question because I was always wondering, how would they tell the difference between the man-made anthropogenic carbon versus the carboniferous carbon that's every year? Because I know it's really a farce, and it's just another way to just make money and control the environment. Have a good day.
There is some exploitation of it, but again, I'm not here to decipher their system. I'm here to master the system. If they said they want to pay for individuals who captures carbon in whatever formula they use, I will use that formula. For instance, the mere fact that a lot of people, we talk about selling aragonite, and this is where the evolution comes in with giving everybody $100,000. The 150 billion tons of aragonite was, and will continue to be created as a mean of carbon capture based on the formula they have, with radiant heat, carbon in the air, and our salt water combining together, causing it to precipitate out of the water. So it's the only place in the world that it actually happens with a percentage of 93%. So carbon, if aragonite and calcite and all these things are actually carbon that has been coming out of the air. If the world is playing this facade, or in reality what it is, and they say they're willing to pay for it, then let's sell it. If you have 150 billion tons, we have billions of tons every year that precipitate. They said, according to the formula, that the plants, the red mangroves and the mangroves and our coppice absorbs carbon. I say we also begin a recycling program where we account for all the oil that comes into the Bahamas. We account for all of the plastics that come into the Bahamas. We account for all of these things and become a carbon negative place by basically abandoning the concept of this so-called generating energy using carbon fuels, including LNG. It's a form of carbon. We have wind, we have tidal, and we have solar energy, and we are only a small demographics. Our demand for electricity is minuscule compared of our capability. And so, but we don't have context. We have people running around who have Googled information and have no in-depth thought to it. And this is where people say, well, why you don't do something? Well, you got hundreds of people running around, little men running and little women running around, screaming things they've heard. And the news media then carries them as frontline headline and the information they have. And then individuals adopt what they read in the media, heard in the media as being true, when that very argument that the individuals made is negative. And so you can listen today. I tell people, listen, you hear the leadership of the major political parties screaming green economy, blue economy, orange economy, knowledge economy, digital economy, conceptual economy. Well, I ask people, go to my page. These are terms I was using 10 years before most people even knew they exist. And so the fact that I build into the future and wait for the rest of the world to catch up is maybe a unique thing to me. But what I'm saying to you, we can.
Somebody's calling you out, CL, and somebody says, Tracy says, enough of the talk, C. Allen. You present great ideas and solutions, but it's not worth anything if you're not willing to be a part of this solution. Our country needs leadership now. If you're not prepared to be a part of something, take 2 seats. How do you respond, Tracy?
I asked her to pick up the phone and call the leadership of the 22 political parties and ask them, do they know me? And ask them where most of their ideas are influenced from. And so essentially what I can do is I can fill cups, but if your leadership, if you choose your leadership, you say to me, C. Allen Johnson, we would like for you to lead. But guess what? We don't need a political party. All we have to do is, if you believe in me, let's have a conversation with me. I haven't heard a phone call from you. I haven't heard a phone call from any people who like to critique me. I'm saying to you, call me and ask me what could be done. I will give you the instructions. I'm simply saying to you, we can take this country back without going to Parliament, because the individuals in Parliament are our servants. And I've been repeating this for a decade. And individuals have taken information from me, the soldier crabs as we call them, and they've sought to elevate themselves. And I say this: if you have someone you want to follow, and you think they have great ideas, tell them to come get what they say they believe, what they say can happen, past me. Like I said to you, I consider myself on the lowest rank from a global perspective. And a lot of people say, C. Allen, you know too much. And I say, I only know about 20 or 30 disciplines. And if you think that's a lot based on the global perspective of where we live in the world of information, I say to you, shame on you. You know too little.
Okay, we have to take a break. We have to take a break. Only 14 minutes left in the show. Got to get this last break in. And then when we come back, we're going to wrap this whole thing up. We are talking about promises, power, and personalities. We'll be back after this.
Ocean blue is the best in seafood, hey, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. We got fish, conch, lobster, shrimp, everything you want. Ocean blue got it. Ocean blue, friendly and clean, best service you ever seen. Ocean blue is the best in seafood, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. Ocean blue seafood, we are here for you. Ocean blue seafood, no one else will do. Ocean Blue Seafood, located on Burnett Road. Contact us at 393-2160.
At the Shirley Street Plaza, you'll find Le Petit Gourmet, a small cafe that's big on flavor. Handcrafted delights made with love will not only please your palate, but feed your soul. Call us at 394-1251. 8 to 12 minutes is all it takes for a burglar to rob your home or business. Security Systems International provides professional and affordable solutions for both. Call 396-5000 for your customized quote. Gwen's Alterations provides professional services for all your tailoring needs, including face masks to keep you safe and in style. A stitch in time saves 9. So call us today at 393-6227.
Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Pirateswell, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room. Sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182. For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Youngevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Youngevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Because there won't be any time after that. So let's go to it now. Okay, so that was not okay. All right. I don't think that was the correct break, but okay. All right, so let's wrap this up. C. Alan Johnson is our guest today. C. Alan, we have a whole lot of comments, boy. I don't know how anyone coming to my door who is not willing to have a debate with C. Alan ain't getting my vote. Make it happen. Tracy says, C. Alan, you are speaking idealism because what we have been governed by is completely contrary to what you speak of. Trevor says, C. Alan is soaked in PLP corruption. Ask him what Brave promised him. Jesus, you're all deep. Oh, man. Tracy says.
Let me answer that. You know, Brave is promising me and others that he's going to eliminate the ineptness, the incapability, and competence that we currently have. The question is, can he? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. Is he the one, or can he? That's the same question we must ask of all other leaders. And if you notice, my question to you is the same thing. I encourage you, challenge Mr. Brave Davis to engage me and see if I capitulate to him or any other leaders. Challenge minutes. You all want a debate of leadership. I've laid the thing. If you want to claim that the leadership is only those of political parties, I will reactivate my party to join the crew. My job, and I think Michelle, we did a show on this, when I did the proposal and saying I was willing to lead them. My whole point was that I wanted to bring a sense of reason to the table so that they could have a concise conversation concerning what is it they're trying to achieve. Okay, if I want to challenge any of those political parties, I would join them and challenge for leadership in the public domain. I am not afraid of a challenge. I'm not afraid to be challenged.
Okay, let's go back to a couple more comments. Tracy says, what you're suggesting is we continue with what we have and try nothing new. I don't think that's what he's suggesting.
No, I said to you that you don't have to wait till May 2022. I said to you that you could be tomorrow, we could begin to organize ourselves.
Okay.
And begin to take power back from those in Parliament. We didn't give them power, we give them authority. We, however, have surrendered our power, and we don't have to wait. Okay?
Stacey
and so
says,
we could take it back.
Stacey says, Bahamians love being sold dreams. Any outrageous nonsense, they'll believe it. Christoph says, we don't trust one another. Everyone's goal is to get rich quick, and politicians know how many investors are in line waiting to do business in the Bahamas. And Carla says, it's so easy for the independents to win this election because everybody is tired of these old political parties. Let me be the leader, and we can get each other, we can vet each person and then move on. Please put all the egos aside and take our country back. Okay.
This is, believe it or not, this is the best time for us to have a debate on the islands. In fact, I challenge individuals. Let me tell some people, I've spent 20 years seeking first to understand, and I'm now getting to the point to be understood. At the same time, I've watched the evolution of technology. Haven't been in it for almost 45 years, from 1980s when the technology revolution began, from 1992 when the digital revolution began. And so here we are today in the second digital revolution, 3 years into it. I want people to know that Hubert Alexander Ingram and Perry Graston and Christie governed for 25 years of the first digital revolution. Hubert Alexander Ministers governed for the first 3 years of the second digital revolution, and we have no progress in spite of being the most prepared country. So the world is in the second digital revolution, third technology revolution, fourth industrial revolution, and fifth social revolution. And Bahamians are in the cave discussing shadows on the wall.
Delphine says, Mr. Allen and many other brilliant men in this country will grow old with plenty knowledge and not do nothing. They will watch this country go to hell in a handbasket.
How do you respond?
No, what happened? How do I respond? The ignorant amongst us outnumbers the intelligence we have. So what happens is, until the ignorant wish to submit to the intelligent brand, you don't have the same thing. But let me tell you what each of us do. Me and dozens, if not hundreds of others, we build those who are willing to be built. You cannot enter a strong man's house and force your will upon them. And so if you build strength and ignorance within your camp, guess what? The first thing the Bible says, you must become as a child. Devoid yourself of what you think you know and seek those that do know to give you the way. But there is thousands. When you look at the collective of us, we have helped thousands of people. You know what the problem is? The ones we help and they leave aren't coming back. Why? Because those in the cave, when they come back to describe the sun they saw and they see the real trees, the ones in the cave that has mastered the shadows, turn on them and say, these individuals who have experienced the sun are now insane that they come here discussing colors when all we know is gray.
I want to read one more comment, let you respond, and then we're going to wrap this up. Stacy says, we are in perilous times in this country. People are suffering without jobs, bank accounts on E. So the last thing we need is a novice governing this country. No. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to let you respond to this, to that statement. If you're not willing to do something different, you're going to keep getting the same thing that you would have gotten by doing the same thing over and over again. And, you know, this whole question about a novice running the country, Pinling was a novice in many senses of the word when he took over. He had never been prime minister before or premier before, because he was premier when he first came into power and then became prime minister after the election. After the independence. When Hubert Ingram became prime minister, he had experience as a minister of government, but no experience as a prime minister. Same thing with our current prime minister. So you know, the thing is, I don't buy that about, oh, we can't be run by a novice, because the novice just may have the answers that the old heads do not. That's just my personal opinion. What is your opinion on that, Seattle?
Michelle, what do we have to do?
As your final word, because we only have 3 minutes left.
What do we have to do? It is a novice, you know, because you have novices that go to work for Microsoft, for Dell, for Google, for Facebook, and all of these companies every day. But they go into a system of perfection that has been created. So essentially, what we need is not a novice. We need individuals that is willing to tear down the system that does not work for us and put in place a system of empowerment. The problem that we have not been having is we've had nanny governments, Mommy and Papa. You send leaders to parliament for 3 things: legislation, policies, and programs. But you have individuals talking about cleaning up parks and roads and cleaning houses and these things. That is not what governance is about. We have allowed governance to be corrupted. And so we must build a new system to replace the old. And when you talk about jobs, just over broke suckers in a just over broke system, we need to now talk about ownership. And so what you need to do is we need to abandon this system and then stop telling people, oh, let's repeat it. Let's repeat it. Not just repeat it. Let's tear it down and let's have a collective conversation on the system that we will build to replace it. One that allows behemoths to own. And I say, follow me on social media, and I'll be back again with Michelle. And if you want to be scared, come and listen to my vision for the new Bahamas.
Wow, Seattle, and this 2 hours went by real fast today. Thank you so much for being on the show, helping us to break down this circus we see going on here with all this back and forth with these.
And tell them to challenge their leaders to challenge me.
Oh man, listen,
Michelle, let them do it on your show too.
All right, I'll extend the invitation. We'll see what happens. Thanks so much for joining us.
1 by 1 hours ago.
All right, thanks so much for being here,
Thank you,
guys. That's my time. Got to get out of here. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Tomorrow is Friday, so you know what that means. We're going to talk about the week that was. We want to hear from you because it'll be a TGIF open line show. That's going to do it. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for being a part of GPS today, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.